As a blind entrepreneur, I can tell you that there are lots of easy things for you as a person without disabilities. I hope, though, you are a person with disabilities because I do believe that an actual change in how accessibility is built, in how businesses are made, in how entrepreneurship both business wise and social wise is done and perceived as can be changed only then when actual money and actual opportunities to create jobs are with us, people with actual disabilities. And as a PhD in psychology, as someone who worked in United Nations and with UNICEF, with the World Health Organization, and consequently in media, both national Bulgarian media TV, the Bulgarian national TV hosted one of my rubrics, and then I worked in private media, again with national coverage. I worked in media which is funny media, satire-based media, and I can tell you that from all of my experience, combined with the fact I'm a person with disability and a PhD in psychology, there are definitely things which you can map out and do now. Because when we are considering what to do or how to move our careers, we are lost multiple times and for multiple reasons. And mapping is a tool which never fails. Because when we are wondering how to go at an idea or how to move towards something, we are feeling things, we are considering things, we are feeling and considering things. And when you actually sit down and begin mapping, you are constantly erasing that. You are constantly watching at what actually can be done. And what actually can be done is quite more rational than being afraid, being starved, being not able to figure out what to say, what you want, what do you expect from, even from your own self. And when you begin mapping, you are basically eliminating your feelings. Because currently I am at a interesting intersection. I worked for 5 years with the United Nations in different mandates. This is an incredibly high level and high maintenance and high load kind of job that you cannot do for your entire career. I do believe this because I had to work on mandates as a person with disability, but first I started as someone young because I entered this system when I was 25, and then I became someone who is also a person who is a researcher. Then I became someone who is a young person, a researcher, and a psychologist. And then I got the final cap of not so young person, but a researcher, a psychologist, and a person with disability, with lived experiences, with social media presence, not so big. I'm a nano influencer, but nevertheless, I am creating content, which is a thing that sadly multiple colleagues of mine working in comms, in communications, didn't do back then, and sadly are still not doing at the moment. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that after this period, I was already with high blood pressure because I'm a person with disability and I was a person with disability through all of that time, through my work, through my mandates, through the demanding loads of being responsible for the COVID-19 things that we did. Because there were multiple tools and multiple organizational attempts, multiple consultations, multiple things that we did in order for the pandemia itself to be fought better and to be more caring towards different groups of people, especially for young people and people with disabilities. And I'm proud of my job. And sadly, the Bulgarian country, as a country, as prime minister, as ministers, we failed to be careful with different groups, with some of the most vulnerable groups. But yeah, after my experience with the United Nations, I needed to do actual stuff. This was in my head. I want to do actual stuff. This is BS that I'm doing here. I want to do actual stuff. And because I was so interested and so into researching as a psychologist, researching how social media are working, and so interested in all things technical, I started learning how to code. And I had a bugging idea, this actual idea that I started this video with, that actually people with disabilities, well, they can be supported, they can be included, they can be whatever UNICEF or the United Nations or the European Union or the African Union or whatever international, private, whatever organization says. But actually, we need actual entrepreneurial skills in both business entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. And this is where I sat down and actually drafted an app idea about teaching people with disabilities entrepreneurial skills. And I want it to be accessible for the most disabilities as possible. And I started working on that with a very good friend of mine who works in security. She started teaching me code. We started coding on Apple Swift because I am a heavy Apple user and because the accessibility of Apple products is the most robust for me. And I wasn't comfortable at both learning coding and investing back again in Windows peripheria. So this is why I decided to stay with Apple, and actually the ways that Apple configured learning Swift is actually very accessibility friendly. So I didn't want to change ecosystems or whatnot. And we started coding that. I qualified myself to be a QA engineer, and I started working in an IT company. Then in the IT company, I realized that I'm hired to make accessibility audits, manual accessibility audits. But actually, the people that I'm working with are tokenistic and are caring only for the time limit. And a couple of times they were saying to me, don't write so detailed bugs because developer people are lazy, dumb people. They don't want to read details. They want to see something and they're going to do whatever. We just need to raise the flag that there is an accessibility issue. And this in turn was a big issue for me because I think that we can change accessibility if only we actually start changing accessibility. And writing short and basic bugs is not actually the thing that I wanted to do. So I qualified myself with CPACC. This is a type of exam that you can do in order to assess digital accessibility. So I qualified in that, and then proceed working with them for a couple of more months, and I saw quite bad things, and heard quite bad things. And I was lucky when they said to me that on one day they were quite happy with me, and on the next day they were completely unhappy with me. And then I decided to lean on the app idea. The idea of this app, which teaches entrepreneurship to people with as much as disabilities as possible. And I got the back of a very dear friend of mine, and an ex-girlfriend of mine who is a girlfriend of mine now. And luckily she comes from money, which is an incredible luck. And she trusted in my idea. She angel invested in my idea. I was able to hire a couple of people who to help me with the actual polishing of the product. Then we started researching. Then we started pitching to other angel investors, and we started getting more money. And currently we are deep in R&D territory, because what we realized is that in order to make this happen, it needs to be a whole app studio. One app itself, first, it's quite complex to achieve that. So maybe an easier app is the other way to make this entire app idea and entire app designed completely around accessibility to be built. And we started working on the initial code, on a code platform, if you will. We managed to create some very basic and very small AIs, which helped us work with the different loads that we wanted to resolve with different accessibility needs. And yeah, that's that. And currently, after January, I started creating a PR agency, because, as I told you, I worked with national media, both in country money and in private money. I worked with United Nations. There I worked as a micro influencer as well. And I wanted to put all of that, all of this communications experience and accessibility experience into a newish type of PR agency, which can do the PR stack itself, but also build the accessibility layer. The accessibility layer of training stuff, physical stuff at offices or shops or whatever, and then care for the digital accessibility if that's needed. And how I managed to pivot all of that is again through mapping and through eliminating emotions. Because the last thing that you need in such a travel is your emotions. You need money, obviously, and I am earning my money through consulting both in psychology, organizational psychology, and communications. I am mapping all the time. Because when you have even things that you need to iron, things that you need to straighten up. Because, for instance, with the app idea, I didn't have the proper idea. Should I pitch that as a PR agency, which is able to do quite a lot in accessibility, or I'm pitching this PR agency as accessibility first. I couldn't answer this. And the easiest thing to do for an entrepreneurial mind of mine was actually to start pitching itself. Because when you map down what you want to do with whatever business you have on your hands, your business pitch, your business idea, whatever it is to earn money. And when you want to earn money, you have to sell, and sell is not possible without pitching. So I started pitching, and when you have pitches and when you have feedback from those pitches, you start analyzing that. And I cannot do nothing. I can do nothing if I only sit and generate concepts with my closest people, which I luckily have, and with our AI assistants, our AI agents, or whatnot. I cannot do this, you cannot do this, because entrepreneurship, the basics of entrepreneurship is that you are solving the problems of actual people. And my actual problem is that I want to earn money. I need to put money in my pocket. The problem of the businesses and the organizations, however, are quite different. And I need to test those in order to be able to put money in my pocket, because they deem the thing that I want to offer them as valuable, as something which they want to give me money. And fear, hesitation, low self-esteem, the trap of working constantly for someone are things which prevent you from even testing. And writing a cold pitch or just starting creating content about your business idea or pitching your actual business idea, because you can be whoever. You might want to make juices because you studied this, or you are quite deep in juices. I don't know what's your idea. Even tweaking your recipe every day is already testing, maybe on yourself, maybe on your closest people, or whatever, but you are doing that. So you need to put this idea to actual work, not to constant feelings. Please fight your feelings. This is the best you can do so that you can actually head towards earning money. And this is a longish type of video. I'm curious what is your takeaway from that video. What is the thing which made you do actual stuff with the things that you can do, and with your experience, your lived experience, your qualifications or whatnot. I'm curious to read your comments. I'm trying to respond to them and to react to them, and have a very, very nice day.